Hey gang, this is East Coast Lumberjack, and thanks a lot for tuning into the channel. If you like what you see here, please click the subscribe button, and you'll get these as soon as they come out. This week's video, this week's video is an equalizer. Okay, a lot of times looks like things are going pretty smoothly, but just like in life, there's things that go sideways from time to time, and I've got a block of hickory, and I want to talk a little bit more about that because not all hickory is created equal. Not all trees are created equal. And just like humans, every human's an individual. Well, trees are the same way. And although typically the properties of hickory are pretty uniform across the species and all the subspecies of hickory trees, sometimes you get the odd one, for whatever reason, that's an anomaly. And we found one of those this week. So I'll talk to you about that in a bit. I started doing this as my give back to the YouTube community. I use YouTube a lot to help me fix things and learn about how do I take this out, how do I do whatever. And we all have a little bit of knowledge on things that we're good at, or that the world that we live in. And mine is the axe world. Okay, I'm a lumberjack competitor. I've competed for 40 years as a competitor. I've sharpened axes and saws, and I know a little bit about helping people with that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people on here that that give you a lot of advice, and some of it's good, some of it's not so good. And some of the advice I give you may not be right on the mark, but based on, again, I compete at a high level in this sport, in steel timber sports. So the axes we use are a lot larger than your firewood axe, your camp axe, or your boy's axe, and so if what we say or see with an axe that big, if it doesn't work for an axe that big, it's not going to work for an axe a little bit smaller. So this week we're going. I'm venturing into territory I probably shouldn't be in. I'm a chopper, and I use chopping axes, and I just did that yesterday. I just got back from Prince Edward Island. We had a lumberjack competition over there, and I had a great chop. I had a great standing block chop. Actually, maybe I'll show it to you. Okay, maybe I'll put it on here so you can see it. Not maybe, I will. I'll stick it in here, and maybe I'll stick it in here right now.
Batter's ready.
Yeah, that's right.
Your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go, Tony.
Come on!
Let's go, young buck.
Yay! Look at that! Woo! You got yay!
So that's what I do. And I love doing it. So, but I also split firewood. Now I'm no Buck and Billy Ray, okay, and and hats off to, you know what, I've never done a shout out to Buck and Billy, and of course, he's a YouTuber. He's a real YouTuber. I'm a wannabe. I'm just hanging around here giving you a few things that I know. Buck and Billy's been around for a while, doing a great job, okay, and I've learned a lot of neat things. For example, I was up a tree here a while ago, a couple years back, and I was topping trees. And I was getting beat around like crazy. Of course, I cut the tree off, and of course, I used a conventional notch. It went off. It whipped me back and forth and beat my face off the tree trunk a few times, and I realized that didn't work. So what do? Of course, I YouTube it, and I looked, how to properly top a tree. And I got Buck and Billy, and he was talking about using a Humboldt notch, and then the tree goes out, and it slides right off that Humboldt. So I had a tree job down the road. I had to top a lot of popple trees for guys around his pool. He didn't want the trees taken down, but he wanted the tops off so we get the afternoon sun. And I threw in a Humboldt notch, and I cut that off, and that slid off so slick, and I sat there, and the tree hardly moved. And I said, man, Buck and Billy, good, solid advice. Come on, do her. Now, we might argue a little bit on sharpening chainsaws. But again, what I would say, there's different ways of doing things, okay? And if you watch Buck and Billy saws cut, they cut like a knife through butter, okay? And my saws, and I just filed a bunch of chains at the mill I work for up in Woodstock, and they went through wood like a knife through butter, okay? So, but we use two different techniques, okay? But they end up with pretty much a very similar product, okay? The saws cut really well. So, there's different ways of doing things. So now we're going to talk firewood. Now, Buck and Billy is a splitter, okay? He does do chopping, of course, not competitive chopping, but he chops a lot as well. And I was watching the other day to do some chopping and doing some splitting, and of course I have to split used to split 10 cord of firewood for my house every year. Now I'm down to 6, thankfully, because I've been insulating the place and putting new windows in. So I'm saving myself a little bit of work, but I'm still splitting wood. And I do it different. I don't use a bullet. But now I tell you, I've got a challenge for the Buck and Billy Ray bullet, and we're going to see it this afternoon. So my only other advice is you might need sunglasses to watch this video. Because like a lot of working men, I don't lay around in the sun and get a suntan. But it's flipping hot here now in New Brunswick. So, see, okay, I'm wearing shorts. And yeah, the legs are a little white. But anyways, we can look past that. And I want to show you hickory wood, okay? And this stuff here, this is a unique hickory trees. Hickory species is pretty uniform. Like for the most part, hickory wood grows pretty straight, grows pretty nice. And when you split it out, especially veneer logs, they split pretty straight. But of course, like humans, their trees are individuals. And every now and then you're going to get one that either grows in an open area where there's a lot of wind, or it has different type of soil, or something affects the growth of that tree and changes it. And I found a log out of my 15 hickory logs that was like this. Okay, all the rest of them split out nice. Well, this one didn't split so nice. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, we're going to talk about anomalies today, and I want to show you just how tough it is when you get a log like this, and what do you do with it. So if all of a sudden you can't make handles out of it, what are you going to do next? Okay, so I can tell you, you just bought some expensive firewood. So come along today, and I'll show you how I beat through this hickory log. And if you have some insights on this, and you maybe know what's causing what I found here in this one log, let me know. I know one thing. Right now, I don't know how to determine a log like this from looking at the bark or the ends of the log. You don't know it till you start splitting it, unfortunately. Now, the good thing is I don't run across them a lot. But I have had, this is the second log I've had like this out of about 5 different loads of hickory logs. And this is also the last hickory split we're going to do for a while, because of course the hickory wood's all done and it gets kind of old. I know that after a while. So hope you enjoyed today's video, and watching the old East Coast Lumberjack sweat a little bit. Hey gang, East Coast Lumberjack, and today we're back on hickory. Now, just so you may have watched me split up some hickory over the last little bit, and actually I've had pretty darn good luck. And things have gone pretty darn well. So I made 2 trips to Quebec and got 2 loads of logs. The last load that we put on the channel, we brought back 15 logs. Okay, a few of them were shagbark. The other ones, I'm not sure whether they're mocker nut, they're pig nut, or what they are. But anyways, some of it's tough wood, some of it's nice stuff. So just in case you think, because I split this stuff out and you think, man, that Cumberland, he's some good luck, that old East Coast Lumberjack splitting that wood out. Well, guess what? I run into a tough log. Okay, now I don't know what this is. It's deep grooved wood. Okay, and it was 3 feet long, and I tried for 2 days to split this out. And it ain't going good. And as a matter of fact, it's downright ugly. So I want to show you. I want to bring you along for the ride so you can appreciate what goes into these handles. So yesterday So there's two logs here, and the bark looks almost identical, but for whatever reason, one log is nice, one log is ugly. So the one that was nice, actually the bark come off it fairly nicely. So these outside pieces here are all from that. So as you can see, and this here's a piece I split out, and it's all gone fairly well. So these guys here, and of course I got to go inside quickly because I don't want them to laterally check. So I'll just move them off to the side here, a little bit out of the sun. I want to show you the other ones. So again, a typical split. Okay, it's nice and smooth down here, nice and straight. Not a lot of ragged pieces on the sides. So this stuff all come out pretty good. And there's what did I get? I think I got 10 or 11 of them, which was good out of a 1 3-foot piece. Okay, so this is one of the first ones that come off. Now, if you look down this, you can see it's wavy. Okay, it's wavy down here. Okay, and this way here, it's really strandy. Okay, there's lots of strands. When I split down through there, it held on like crazy. And I'd put my second wedge in, even a third wedge, to try to get it to split apart. And it would barely come apart. So I got that one first. This one was second. And again, all this stringy stuff on it, it's holding on like crazy. So I got 2 out of that. There's the third one. And again, all kinds of pieces hanging on. This is the 4th one that come off, okay? This is when I decided, all right, I've had enough. So, in 2 days of splitting, this end here didn't even come out straight, okay? And look how gnarly it is. Look at that. I mean, that's downright, I don't care what you say, that's butt ugly, okay? There's no 2 ways around it. So, it ain't coming out good. So what I did, now again, this last load I got 15 logs, okay? So basically 14 are making handles. So this last one, I've cut her up. I've had enough. I got pretty flippin' ticked off yesterday, and I said enough, because I've got to get this done. I mean, man, it's July. So here we are in July, and I'm still trying to get this stuff done. So I want to show you just how badly it's going. So this piece here, I split it out yesterday. Okay, so now this is firewood. Okay, that's all it is. It's firewood. So Buck and Billy, me and you splitting firewood today. So. This one here, I split apart. It's not half bad, just because it's already split. So I'm going to split this for you, just to show you how nice and pleasant this is. Look, see all that holding on? It's unreal. It's just unreal. This, and this is only a 12-inch piece. So I've got a 6-pound maul, and I've got a 4-pound maul, and that's what I always split with. I split with mauls. So well, actually, this ain't looking half bad. But I've already split most of this one. There. So, the old East Coast Lumberjacks burning hickory this winter. All right. Okay, we'll do it. We'll tackle it. So, this is the next one. This is the next one. I'm going to put it up on this. That's at least 100 pounds. It's flipping heavy. It's flipping heavy. I'm going to set this here. Okay. Now, just to give you an appreciation of how she's going. Okay, so just in case you think the old boy's lost his touch and hitting the wrong place, look at that line. I'm right straight across here, okay? So all my hits are exactly where they should be. Okay, to break this open, I'm right straight along there, and it ain't coming. Okay, it ain't budged. Okay, this is maybe 14 inches, and it ain't budged a bit. So, where is it? There's one. There it is. There's two. Okay, so I got no choice. I got to split it with a wedge. Okay, get the wedges out. I'm back to the big one, the big maul. I don't know how much firewood splitting you've done. Likely if you're watching this channel a fair bit. But that's a lot of work to get one block split in half, I'll tell you that. This rivals any yellow birch log I've done. And this is just to get firewood. So this is great practice for underhand chopping, as you can tell. So we got one stringy little buzzard off of there. And there's two. Now that's typically how hickory splits. There's that one done. Ugh. She's rugged stuff, I'll tell you that. Look at how that's holding on. It's crazy. Whew. There. I'll tell you, that's a lot of freaking work for firewood, let alone an axe handle. So just so you know, it ain't always a cakewalk here. And this just to get the last little bit of firewood out of this stuff. But the good news is, I've got two more of these ones. This one here split out pretty nice, and the bark's coming off it decent. So I've got two more of those, and I've got 3 logs left, and 2 are shag bark, and we know shag bark split beautifully. So what I had to do, because the last week has been hot, okay, it's been hot and dry, and anything that's laying around here is splitting like crazy. So I had to take my crown spray and crown the whole end of those 2 logs. And now as soon as you cut something, because I got to cut those long 9-foot logs into 3 3-footers, And I spray the ends of those as well because it's splitting and it's drying fast. So I gotta save this stuff, okay? I can't lose this wood. It's already paid for, and I need as many handles out of it as I can get. So this has slowed me down because I'm back on the processing firewood out of this hickory log. So again, that's what happened. So I paid veneer price for that log, and it's all going into veneer. Or sorry, into I wish. It's all going into firewood. So it's expensive firewood. So you know what? On a nice, real cold day this winter, when I throw that into the stove, I'm going to sit back and say, that piece of firewood probably cost me $10. But boy, does it throw heat. So anyhow, I am still lagging behind. I got the camper just about on the road. So a couple little spots on it. I'm finishing up here right now, and then we'll be able to actually have a little bit of enjoyment sometime this summer and go camping. But for right now, so I've got 2 more of these 12, 14-inch logs to split for firewood. Okay, once they're done, then I'm back into this other stuff, splitting it out for handlewood. The last 3 logs I hope go smoothly. I know 2 of them will. The 2 shag bark will. The third one has got bark similar to this. But even though I've had, most of my logs have had the same kind of bark as this, there's only been one that's been a monster, and it's this one here I showed you today. So, it ain't always a cakewalk here. This, and once you beat and thrash and you cannot get a handle out of it, there comes a time when you got to say, Uncle! Well, I reached that yesterday, okay? I reached my uncle. And I said, Uncle, and now this log is firewood. Anyways, everything goes sideways on people, okay? No one, if you ever think that everybody has a cakewalk, you haven't lived on the planet Earth very long, or else you're quite naive, okay? The grass always looks greener on the other side of the fence, I'll tell you guys, it does. But it isn't. Okay, all you see, and usually when you run into people, you see they're happy. Hey, how you doing? Okay, until you dig down a little bit and find out what's going on in life. Like everybody has trouble. Okay, everybody has good times. Everybody has bad times. Okay, no one's getting out of this alive. No one's getting out of this with a little bit of headache and heartache. Okay, unfortunately, that's the way life is. So. You gotta know how to deal with it, and for me that's where faith comes in. I ain't gonna preach to you, but if you ever want to talk about that stuff, I'll tell you, I've been through a lot and seen a lot, okay, and you know what, it's funny, all we ever see is the East Coast Lumberjack here beating around on handles. Well, I'll tell you, back in 2019, life was pretty rough for the old East Coast Lumberjack, okay. I was working a full-time job at a college teaching, okay, and I was wrongfully dismissed. And I wound up in court fighting a battle over that, okay, with some big industry giants. And actually, I've just written a book. And one of these weeks, I'll do a little preview on the book that's coming. Okay, I wrote a book about my travails because, again, people may think things are going pretty good for the old East Coast Lumberjack. Well, I'll tell you, she isn't always roses. And not that that matters. Like I say, you take the good with the bad. And we went through a pretty rough time there for a bit, but there's quite a story to that, okay, and it's a lot longer than a 25-30-minute video, I'll tell you that. So I wrote a book on it. I wrote a book on my upbringing and what made me who I am, and then my time as a deer biologist for the province of New Brunswick and what I found there. And there's a lot of research, a lot of science in it, a lot of good information, and then I tell about what went sideways at the college. So She's quite a little ordeal. It's a good read, I think. I think it's a pretty interesting story. But that's there's a lot to that. Okay, so that's the whole other side of the East Coast Lumberjack, and I pretty much skirted around that and stayed away from that for the most part, because guys here, we want to talk handles, and we want to talk axes, and we want to talk stuff that's actually a little bit light and fun and nice to do. But again, so this week's video is all just to let you in on the fact that, you know what, she ain't always roses in life. And it's funny, the old my dad, and I call my dad Little John Wayne. Okay, my dad's he's a 5'6", bulletproof. He quite a lad. And old Dale, he had some cowboy wisdom in him. And when I was in college, running around going 100 miles an hour, he wrote me one letter from college, and he said in it about 3 or 4 times, "Stop and smell the roses." Stop. He's basically saying, "Slow down, young feller," because I was running pretty hard, and I've run hard ever since. So anyhow, good advice from Little John Wayne. Anyhow, that's this week's video. Tune in next week. All kinds more coming at you.